Hello everyone, my name is Ian. Welcome back to my hobby YouTube channel in brief book and film reviews. Today I want to give a quick, I say quick, but I know I'm going to go over time on this today. A review to a book that I read many years ago. It's a really good book. This book was written by Chris Anderson. The pages are 224 pages long. You can get this on Google Books. I'd recommend that if you want to get one, get this one, and you can buy it on Google Books. It would work out cheaper probably than buying, going into the bookshop and getting it. It was released originally in 2002. It was then reprinted by Random House Publishers in 2011. This book is called The Billy Boy, The Life and Death of LVF Loyalist Volunteer Force leader Billy Wright, aka King Rat. Okay, so I try not to sway too much away from what the content of the book. Okay, so the book is basically talks about Billy. He's growing up and stuff as a kid and stuff. It then talks about his schooling and his participation within the community in his area and stuff. It then talks about how he was basically ground by unionists, loyalists, and he then talks about his imprisonment and stuff. It then talks about coming out of prison, trying to settle down as a Christian, having read the Bible and stuff, read in prison, and trying to find God and turn away from all that madness and stuff. It then talks about how he got kind of pulled back into it, or allowed himself to be pulled back into it. And it then talked about how he rose to become expelled, I think, from the UVF to Ulster Volunteer Force, to then be in the, his own paramilitary organisation, which was the LVF. And there's a couple of photos online as well. I'm going to put one up on the thumbnail of this video, and I'll leave a couple of links as well so you can watch an interview of him and the story also of him and that. But the book is definitely worth a read. It then talks about his family life, settled down with his wife. I think he had two daughters and that, a couple of dogs, and trying to kind of settle down and stuff. It then talks about his involvement and his the test of the peace process and that, and then it talks about the death and how he was killed within the Maze prison by Christopher Crip Williams, who was the member of the Irish National Liberation Army. Okay, so that I don't want to say too much about it. I can talk about it all day, I really can. This is really interesting subject, and that, with him, it's just an interesting character to look at. Definitely don't agree with what he did as a person and that, but I also know as him being a human being, I also know I've seen from reading up and reading about it, and know that how he was basically groomed. And people that will disagree with that and say, oh no, he wasn't groomed and that he wanted it because he was a fighter and all the rest of it. But I think that, when he talked about being within the book, when he talked about being a Christian and stuff and wanting to move away from that, you could see, I remember reading, watching an interview about him, and that there was there's a bit of a sincerity about him really wanting to change. But unfortunately, when you get into that life and you keep getting called back and you don't see any way out, and the upbringing and the stuff that he had was very dysfunctional, and that, his father, his mother splitting up, moving to and from Wolverhampton to Portadown and stuff, and that it all has an effect on a young mind. And I think that looking at Billy Wright, I just see that person as it was just a fucking tragedy what happened to the person himself. Now, in my opinion, he turned out to be an absolute psychopath. Psychopath killer, killed at will, at random, and that went into houses and stuff and that, or where there was kids there, telling the kids to be quiet, where he ran up the stairs and shot their father and stuff, and that he was a psychopath. There's no doubt about it, and that members of the unionist and loyalist communities will come out and say that the guy he had a screw short and that, and even his own father would admit that he wasn't against killing. He was against stuff like the Bloody Sunday and stuff and that. So that was coming from his own father. He stated that within an interview. His father actually went down upon the reports that there was collusion within the Maze with the British forces and stuff, and that with his death. Whether there was, there wasn't, no one ever is never going to really know. But his father wanted an inquest into it. It cost millions of pounds at the time and that. But the fact that his father went down to the Irish Republican, you know, and was looking for an answer there from them as to what happened to his son, and that will just goes to show that he had more time. His father kind of had more time, was more liberal in the other political divide than what Billy would have been. So to me, Billy Wright was a psychopath, but understanding on the person who he was and could have been, and this is a sad thing, and that, you know, about it all. Religion divides a lot of people. You know, you look at now in most religions, you'll see there's a lot of divide. There's a lot of hatred there for the other divide, and usually it's over something completely petty. But really, it boils down to your social status and stuff and that. And for me, Billy was groomed from a young age. He went on, he was very impressionable, having been disrupted from you know, family life and stuff when he was a young kid, being placed in foster care, going to work on farmlands and that, listening to you know, Ulster ex-RUC regiment officers and that on you know, farmland and stuff, and you know, the old saying, the one by the hand that feeds them. So he was very impressionable as a young child. Went to prison for his activities, you know, within it, thinking that he was, you know, somewhat trying to be a part of something and that. So and then, you know, becoming something, and then kind of getting dragged into a drug scene and stuff. It was all completely messy, and you kind of wonder. There was a part in the book that when I was reading up on it, when he was talking about wanting to move away and, you know, be part of, be like a Christian and just get away from all that. But somehow his past dragged him back in, and people get trapped in the past as well and that. And I think when I look at Billy, I just think it was a fucking tragedy to what happened to the person himself. Even though he turned out to be, in my opinion, a psychopath, a murdering psychopath and that. And it's a really, really good book. I won't say any more. I probably offended a lot of people in that, saying this and that, but and a lot of people would agree with me also on that. But it's a really good book. I think that you should read this book and that, just to get a kind of grasp on the person himself and that, and leave some feedback if you want and that. You know, don't be malicious what you're saying, your comments and stuff. Keep it nice, keep it civil and stuff, and you know, just, you know, tell us if you've read the book, what you thought about it yourself and that. Like I said, it doesn't matter what divide you are, whether you're Catholic, Protestant, a Unionist or Republican and that. You know, we all have family, we all have friends and stuff, and it's for me, he was just a perfect example of someone got pulled into all that bullshit. And if there was collusion with the British Army and that, and he was acting as an agent, which many believe he was. People like David Irvine and that came out and said that, you know, he had no doubt he was an active British agent and that. For what? What was it all over? You know, he didn't get a chance to see his girls grow up. You know, what he thought he was believing. Now, he probably stepped out of line at somewhere, and then he had to be taken out because he was acting out of school. But at the end of the day, you know, these are the people that he thought he served. Like Johnny Adair, he has to live in Scotland now. He can't come back into the north because he thought he was fighting for something, you know, a cause that, like, he can't come back into his country. And it's kind of like the same way. So I don't want to talk about all this all day and that, you know, and I don't want to go too deep into it. So I just wanted to come online and give a reference to the book, and that I thought it was a great book. And yeah, so I hope everyone's doing well today and that. And I'm going to be doing another video shortly in that about Money Kings. It's a film that I watched there recently in that. So if you're looking to get a review on that, just tune in next time and I will do a review with that. So stay blessed, stay positive, and I'll chat to you next time. All the best.